The TEFL Commute, Season 2, Episode 6, Gifts, in which we discuss the ethics of gift giving to teachers, good and bad gifts for teachers, and since when did the apple become such a typical gift for teachers? Let's get started.
You're listening to the TEFL Commute podcast.
Hi, Lindsay.
Hey, Shaun, how's it going?
Well, it's a bit weird, actually.
Yes, this episode is being recorded live. Actually, both of us are in the same place, in the same room, around a microphone. This is a first for us, so...
Yeah, it's a bit odd not having Skype and we're there and actually seeing you, and I don't know how to interact now.
I know. So, well, we're going to do the best we can, and we're recording this episode towards the end of November, beginning of December. And it's actually just a couple of days before Black Friday here in the UK. And so
here in the UK, you mean here because we've nicked it off the States and we...
As well as Black Friday. For many retailers, I imagine it's Black Friday everywhere. But what that means is that gift giving is beginning to come on the radar as we come to the end of the year. And for many people, giving gifts at Christmas or end of the year things are beginning to come onto people's radars.
Hey, you know what? Because of that, I've actually got you a gift.
Oh, right. Oh, wonderful.
Oh, cool. If you put your hand in the bag. No, don't look. Don't look.
Okay, I'm not going to look. I'm not
okay, there you go.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me just describe this for the listeners. This is a like an iPad, kind of thing to take a nap with, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Shaun. This
well,
is
I
really
thought on a plane, you know.
Yeah, it's a thing that you put over your eyes. But what's even cooler about it is it is a Star Wars one. So it's the like Darth Vader eyes. So yeah, I'll be wearing this on the bus journey that I take out of here. So thanks a lot.
I saw that and I thought that's definitely for Lindsay. Geeky and practical. There you go.
That's wonderful. We'll put a photo of it or of me wearing it into the show notes.
So do you get many gifts from not from people, from students and stuff like that?
Yeah, well, let's start talking about gifts from students. Yes, I think I've gotten more in the past. Recently, I haven't had a spate of gift receiving, but I have definitely received gifts from students. What about you, Shaun?
Well, now I work mainly in the online classroom, then I don't get that many, but yeah, previously I did. Yeah, typical kind of Shaun gifts, really. Chocolate and wine is
chocolate and wine. Yeah, I've had chocolate and wine. I mean, it's very interesting the different. Cultures of gift giving, I think, especially for teachers. For example, I'll start by telling you what happens in Spain now as a parent. My kids at school, every Christmas, there's a sort of the parents kind of band together, and every parent has to put in a sum of money that we use then to buy a present for the teacher. This is different than when I was a kid, and each kid would bring in a little gift for the teacher at the end of the year or at Christmas time. So
you were a kid did you grow up in Canada?
Oh, sorry, in Canada, yeah.
Because I'm intrigued, because as a kid here, I don't ever recall giving gifts to my teacher.
Oh, I remember.
I just wonder if it was I was talking to some people how new it was and when that actually started.
Well, when I was a child, I remember definitely giving things like jam and wine or chocolates to the teacher, and that at the end of the year, the teacher's table would be full of gifts from each of the different kids. Sometimes things like that you would buy or things that we would make for the teacher and so on. Whereas in Spain now, you get this situation where every parent puts in, let's say, €5. But in a class of 30, that's like €150 that is used then to buy a present for the teacher. So the presents tend to be really quite good. And sometimes almost, I think, too personal. One year, the parents in charge of collecting the money and buying the gift bought some too expensive bracelets and a pair of earrings for the teacher, which, I thought was quite personal and intimate a gift. Other times we've bought like kind of Gucci handbags with like a whip around, which yielded around €220.
That's ridiculous. Surely gift giving in that case is is just expensive. I mean,
Yeah.
imagine if you've got more than one kid, you've got to dread giving gifts.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it was just sort of the awkwardness of a very expensive gift. And as a teacher in Spain, that's happened to me once where I did get a really nice watch. And again, I felt really kind of awkward. It was a class of around 30 students, and so that watch must have cost at least €100. I still have it, and, they engraved it with my name and everything. So, yeah, very, very odd.
That's, I've never had anything like that at all. I get embarrassed enough when I get a box of chocolates and I think it probably sounds a bit coy, but I don't do the job to get a gift, and it's kind of like they're going to come, and it's like thank you. What do you do with it? But I mean, it's kind of, if you're giving Gucci handbags, it seems far removed from the kind of image of giving an apple to a teacher, which is kind of the gift, I think, that you kind of say. I mean, gift giving now is really big business. I mean, how many websites are there for teachers' gifts? It's just incredible.
Oh yeah, no, it is really big business. I mean, the ethics of it is a bit weird. I did a thing on Facebook where I asked several other teachers what they had received as good gifts or the best gifts, and there was a lot of different kind of really interesting answers. I'll share a couple with you here. Let's see, things like there's things like plates, things like mugs, the infamous mugs, chocolate, wine, gift certificates as well.
Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas!
Welcome to Timeline, the TEFL Commute's on-the-move game for teachers. Okay, in order to play Timeline, you need to draw yourself a mental timeline. We've all used timelines in the classroom. Get the pen, draw a line. Over here on the left is usually the past. Moving towards the right is the future, with somewhere with a little cross or an intersection for now in the middle. So draw yourself that mental timeline now. Great, so now you're ready to play, and today's topic is gift givers.
Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas!
Yes, thank you, Father Christmas. Of course, not all gifts are given at this time of year by Father Christmas. So in this timeline, we'll look at 5 other gift givers that appear around this time of year. Ooh! So on your timeline, you need to put them in order of date of arrival. Are you ready? So here we go. So first up, you've got Kanakaloka, then Mikolash, then Saint Basil, Agios Vasilis, Saint Lucy, who gives gifts to people in certain parts of Italy, and then finally Santa Claus, who visits the Benelux countries. So that was Kanakaloka, Mikolash, Basil, Lucy, and Santa Claus. Thinking time.
Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas!
For this timeline, we use the websites whychristmas.com and Wikipedia as the main sources, so blame those if the answers are wrong. So, in chronological order, you have first Mikolash, who visits on the eve of the 5th of December. Next up is Santa Claus, who arrives on the 6th of December. Followed by St. Lucy, who arrives on the 13th of December. Then you have Kanakaloka, which is Hawaiian for Father Christmas, so that's the 24th of December. And then finally, in Greece, you have St. Basil, who comes on the 1st of January. As ever, you give yourself 1 point for every correct answer, so if you got all 5, you deserve a great big gift. Thank you very much for playing this seasonal edition of Timeline, and join us again in a future podcast episode for another edition of Timeline.
Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas!
Lindsay, we should perhaps explain to the audience the difference in the sound all of a sudden.
Yes, that's true. We started recording this last week when we were coinciding in Oxford. I was on a business trip to Oxford, and Shaun lives there, and we met and started the recording. It was our first time doing a live recording face to face. To celebrate it, Shaun even gave me a gift. But then we were kicked out for apparently speaking at the top of our voices. Wasn't that it, Shaun?
Yeah, the woman was trying to. We got into the cafe when it was empty, and by the time we started, there was a woman reading a newspaper who was possibly the rudest woman I've ever met.
Exactly, and it shocked us so much. We kind of left in a hurry, then tried somewhere else, but it was too noisy because everyone else was speaking in the other cafe. Then we tried outside, and now we're back on our regular at a distance way to finish the podcast.
Yeah, so a week ago, Lindsay, we were talking. You were telling me about watches and lovely things that you'd been given as gifts, because in Spain they tend to give very expensive gifts. I think that's where we kind of stopped.
Yes, but what I wanted to ask you is, do you know why? One of the archetypal gifts for a teacher has been the apple. It's like if you put gift for teacher into a Google image search, it'll be apples. Even if you put teacher, apples will come up. And do you know why, Shaun, this is a typical teacher gift?
Is it because people like me love Apple products, or?
No, I've done a little bit of research, and according to the Smithsonian, I found an article, which we'll link to in the show notes, on why do students give teachers apples, and the history of this fruit and teachers. And it, according to the Smithsonian, so they've got an American take on this, and so I imagine it's American tradition. Maybe we'll be corrected. Maybe it's happened in other countries from many years ago. But in the 1800s, in the late 1800s, teachers in the States were often received food from their pupils. So families, according to one PBS special about the frontier called Frontier House, Frontier Life, life in the kind of Wild West, right? So the teachers in these small towns were the families of the children who went to schools were responsible for housing and feeding frontier teachers.
Oh, I see. So the teachers, well, a bit like today, teachers work for nothing.
Well, yes, exactly. And they were held up as actually a paragon of moral fastidiousness, according to the Smithsonian, the teachers. They worked for nothing, and in return, or very little, they got housing and feeding. And so an apple could show appreciation for a teacher. These teachers may be in charge of more than 50 students, so an apple was sort of like a treat thing. And apples continued, I'm reading now, continued to be a favorite way to curry favor, even after the purpose of feeding teachers disappeared.
So I mean, I'm being silly. Does this mean at the end of end of a week or end of a lesson, the teacher got 30 apples if there were 30 students in the class?
I think they would have had like their regular food that a family would have made, or they would have taken it.
Right.
I'm imagining, and then at a special occasion, a birthday or an end of term, they would get an apple, or maybe every once in a while, an apple as sort of a treat thing.
Okay.
In 1939, Bing Crosby has a song called "An Apple for the Teacher," and it says in that line, "There's an apple for the teacher will always do the trick when you don't know your lesson is." Sorry. An apple for the teacher will always do the trick when you don't know your lesson in arithmetic. So, but it was already by that point, in popular culture.
So it's but it's already changing there, isn't it? Because that's the as you just said before, it's the idea of currying favor rather than being a basic need. It's kind of already spun itself
from that to sort of currying favor. In 1968. A book called The Study of American Folklore records the phrase apple polisher, and it's more or less shorthand for a brown-nosing suck-up.
That's brilliant. So, Lindsay, are you an apple polisher?
Yeah, I think so. It does sound quite graphic, though. But anyway, so there you go. There's a history of apples. Of course, there were other, gifts that teachers get. I think we mentioned this a little bit at the top of the show, but I wanted to read through some other gifts that our colleagues in English language teaching, we did a kind of mini informal survey, got from teachers, from their students. You tell me what you think of these.
I think of them as in they're good gifts or...
Good gifts or bad gifts.
Right, okay.
Okay, well, would you like this? Okay, so a metal cage to hang a mosquito coil from, and several mosquito coils.
Not that useful in Oxford.
Yeah, no, this was from a teacher who was going to be leaving Japan to go backpacking in Thailand. So I guess
probably useful for that, yeah.
A huge jar of honey.
Oh, I love honey, so that's always goes down well.
This was about from a student in Tanzania who kept their own bees.
That kind of fulfills two categories then, doesn't it? It's kind of a nice gift and it's a homemade gift in a certain...
What about a pretty embroidered pencil case?
Yeah, that's more for you, if I remember rightly. If I remember right back at the beginning of the start of all this...
I would definitely love that, yeah.
You're the pencil case man.
Someone who was teaching in a company that made computer keyboards, and their students had them... made them their own personalized one with their name printed on the spacebar, and other keys replaced with funny stuff. Delete that's rubbish, etc. So like that's a great geek gift.
That's an absolute geek heaven gift, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. What about the bottle of teacher's whiskey?
As long as it's a single malt, then fine.
Yes, okay. Purses, handbags, mirrors.
I'm all right for handbags at the moment.
Okay, all right. A can of Spam from a trip to Korea.
Oh, Spam's good. Korea actually reminds me of thinking of Korean favouring gifts. I didn't realise, it never crossed my mind that Teachers' Day was different in different countries. Because in the UK, I think we celebrate the United Nations one in October. But each
what date is that? Do you know?
I think it's the 5th of October. I'll definitely get it right in the notes. But it made me look at different countries and their Teachers' Day. And South Korea amused me on Wiki. I'm just finding it now. Excuse me. On the South Korean one, their Teachers' Day is on the 15th of May apparently. But in the Wiki,
same in Mexico. In Mexico, we also had our Teachers' Day on the 15th of May, and I just thought that was always it. And
the UK is the 5th of October. Sorry. So in the notes, Wikipedia, it says South Korea 15th of May, and then it says many schools now close on Teachers' Day because of the rampant bribery implicit in the expensive gifts often given to teachers. So schools use that day for an outing instead, which I think it's kind of the currying favour going too far.
Well, that's true, and lots of the people talking on the Facebook thing did mention about their awkwardness about getting certain gifts, expensive gifts. One teacher said that where they are in Germany, the students are not allowed to give gifts of sort of monetary value or things like that.
But it is quite embarrassing though to receive such gifts. Well, for me it is. I mean, I mentioned that last week, but it just seems, I don't know. There's got to be, at heart, they've got to be trying to curry favour by giving such expensive gifts, and I think that's not right. Yeah. I mean, I much prefer in the Czech Republic. You got simple homemade kind of gifts. One of my classes did buy me an expensive gift when I left the country, but I just quite like the pieces of gingerbread or the pieces of candy or the very simple stuff for it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people said things like gifts that people didn't like, and this is again informally talking to people and also trolling the web. Things like cash. Everyone feels uncomfortable getting cash. Homemade food tended to be something that was a bit of hit and miss among teachers.
Well, I can imagine that. I mean, I quite liked it. But I mean, in the Czech Republic, it's almost like the family tradition to make the sweets for Christmas, and you inevitably get them as a Christmas gift from your students. So it's kind of, I mean, it's culturally, I think it's an acceptable gift, and I certainly enjoyed all the chocolate.
Teachers also, I think mugs is something that teachers don't like.
I think isn't that the number one? I think on most of the websites I looked at, this was the gift you're not supposed to give at all.
Exactly. Yeah, a mug is just another mug. Yes, mugs. Candles was another one that people often said, no candles, please.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I'm not.
You're okay with candles, though.
I just shrunk my shoulders, which doesn't really go across well on a podcast, doesn't it? I mean, when do you, in Spain? When do you get the gifts? I mean, obviously, I understand in Czech. In Czech, we tend to get the gifts at Christmas and then at the end of the year.
In Spain and at the end of the year.
So it's not. I mean,
it's to be a Teachers' Day occasion where you get gifts in Spain, but Christmas and at the end of the year. One thing that also lots of teachers said they did like in this, and when we asked on Facebook and also on other parts online that we've seen, is sort of handmade cards or anything kind of handmade, especially if you teach children. And I wanted to finish our section to bring this to a kind of close by playing another little game with you, Shaun. Remember, a few episodes ago, we did Deep or Cheese, where I read you motivational quotes about teaching, and you had to say if you thought they were deep or just cheesy. Well, I'm going to follow this up today with Cute or Cheese. Okay, so this is from a kind of like a website of like gift ideas and not gift ideas, cards. Like e-cards, electronic cards. And for teachers, they've got suggestions of cute sayings for teacher appreciation. So I want
this sounds like an extended version of Facebook philosophy. I'm already cringing.
It does. But you have to decide if these are cute or just cheesy.
Okay.
So ready?
What I'm gonna. Most of them are going to be cheesy because it's me. I'm not going to sentimental bone in my body.
You're cynical.
Yeah, it's quite right.
All right, here we go. Number one, the message: you are out of this world, attached to a Milky Way or Mars bar.
Oh, actually, I'm going to break that. That's quite nice because I like Mars bars.
Okay. What about this? You are extra special. Tag attached to a pack of extra gum.
Oh no, that's just cheese.
Okay. Thanks for helping our child bloom. Tag with a bouquet of flowers.
Oh, I want the angelic noises and the creepy voice to say that one. No, that's just horrible.
Right. What about this one? Thanks for giving our child a hand. A message with hand lotion.
That's terrible. Oh,
isn't it terrible?
Can you imagine the thought that went into that, though? Oh, no.
Here's another one.
Unless, of course, it might have been given. The thing with those is they could be tongue in cheek. I mean, that's the kind of thing I might give to somebody who knows me.
They may be cute, but they're pretty cheesy.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, maybe I should tell you what it's for, and then you can try to guess the cheesy thing. So this is a gift card from a coffee shop or a special coffee.
Oh,
thanks, a latte.
Oh no.
Okay, what about a bunch of fun paper clips? The message is
thanks for holding it together.
Exactly.
Oh, is it? Oh, get in there.
What about soup mix or custom decorated soup bowl?
Don't know. Go on, tell me that one.
You are super.
Oh, of course I should have thought about the old super SOUPER. Yeah.
Here's another one that you might get. That's like a selection of nice teas. The message for a teacher would be,
don't lose my student's bag.
No, it's
take a leaf out of my book.
Oh gosh, you're getting into it. This is you are terrific.
Oh no, I'm not getting into it that badly.
Here's what I'm going to give you two more. Okay, a tag with flower seeds or a plant.
Something about sowing the roots of knowledge, or
not as deep as that. This is thanks for helping me grow.
Oh yeah, well there you go.
And finally, last one, a package of highlighters.
You are the highlight of my day.
Yeah, no, kind of. Yeah, but this was thanks for making our school so bright. Anyway, there you go. Anyone who wants to send in some awful puns for teacher appreciation notes, we'd be happy to hear from you on Facebook.
And I think now is a really good time to bring in some Facebook philosophy.
Instead of saying impossible, let's teach our students to say I'm possible. Author unknown.
Okay, I think that's probably enough now, Lindsay, isn't it? Those soppy, silly messages have really put me off recording, to be perfectly honest.
I think we deserve another gift.
Well, my gift might be to stop and go and, I think, just have a coffee and get all those quotes out of my head.
Don't speak too loud in the cafe. You never know who is going to be sitting at the next table and get...
Yeah, just you're rude. Just don't. You're speaking too loud. You're rude. Okay.
Just to our listeners, this is our last episode before we break for the Christmas holidays. We'll be back in January.
No, I reckon February.
February. Okay, we'll be recording in January and back on the airwaves, on the internet airwaves in February. So we wish you all the best, all of you, for the end of the year season and season's greetings and the rest of it.
And if you're in a gift-giving culture, I hope you get gifts without soppy messages.
Yes, and take care.
Yep.
Bye
See
now.
you in the new year. Bye.
Bye.
As your commute is coming to an end, here's an idea you can take into class. For this activity, you need a cloth bag or preferably a stocking and some objects. The following objects work well: a pen, a phone, a case for glasses, a whiteboard marker, lipstick, chewing gum, a credit card or bus card. Seat the students in a circle and tell them they're going to guess what the mystery gift is. Without them seeing, put one of the objects into the stocking. Students pass it around and touch it, but they can't say anything yet. When everyone has had a chance to touch the object, call on students to make guesses. Encourage them to use language for speculating. For example, it might be, it must be, it can't be. Do this with the other objects you have. To make this more fun, you could bring one or two completely different objects, for example, from the kitchen or a child's toy. Once all the gifts have been correctly guessed, students then discuss which ones would make good stocking stuffers and for who. You can find the instructions for this activity at our website, TEFLcommute.com. You've been listening to the TEFL Commute, an original podcast produced and presented by Lindsay Clanfield, Shaun Wilden and James Taylor. Don't miss out on any episodes by subscribing to us on iTunes and by visiting us at TEFLcommute.com. We'll be back in the new year with new episodes, but until then, if you haven't already, treat your ears to all 12 episodes in seasons 1 and 2.
Ho, 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 ho! Merry Christmas!